Hi guys, it's Iain Myles here. So today I'm going to be talking to you about online dating and why I would advise completely against it. So I've recently been reading various stories about online dating in the press and online, and I've also been going through some scientific research on the very subject matter. I've even tried and tested a number of the apps with my clients. So I'm going to give you my overall take on it, and I'm basically going to reveal the truth about online dating. And I want you to see that actually cold approaching women really is the best and the most efficient way to meet gorgeous women, just like this.
Excuse me, you look really Spanish.
Yeah.
You are?
Yes.
What are you up to tonight?
I'm going to party with my friends.
I'm Ian, by the way.
No.
We should have like sangria sometime.
And you like sangria?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sangria is really nice. Like when it's hot.
You're not scared it's not hot.
Your nails are like really green. So you like it's green your favourite colour?
No, it's blue.
It's good. You know what? It's good though. Like
Yeah.
go for something that's different.
Of course.
If you always
Red is boring.
yeah like red.
Everyone was red.
Red is very standard and like golds, like silver.
Sometimes it's silver, but just like in Christmas.
Yeah, maybe if you like, if you change your mind, like we can go for a drink.
I have to go.
Do you like, because I can message you if you can go for a drink some other time.
Okay, that's fine.
Do you have like WhatsApp?
079.
So I would talk to you for more.
Okay, so the first thing worth highlighting is that it's actually greatly more inefficient in finding your ideal partner relative to, say, I don't know, approaching a girl, from a cold approach, from a bar, from a club, or even from a shopping mall. Oh yes, it is so much more efficient. It's crazy. And this might not be exactly what you're expecting to hear, but I'm telling you, it is the truth. Because I mean, for starters, you invest so much of your time and so much of your energy with this virtual person. You spend so much of your time when you're sending these messages and even just trying to maintain that conversation with her. I mean, look, don't get me wrong here, you will certainly also, you'll need to invest your time and you'll need to invest your energy when you text the girl in any other sort of situation. That is, without a doubt. However, one has to distinguish between the differences of the two. Now, because when you're messaging her on a dating app, you're basically in the same bucket as 20 other men who are also messaging her on that app too, okay? Now, you're basically competing against a pool of other men, so you really need to stand out from that crowd, when you're putting your messages together. And why should she prioritize you over those 19 other guys? I mean, you don't need to answer that, but the bottom line is that it's just too much effort, guys. It's not worth it. Okay, however, if you already have, hold of that girl's number from, say, I don't know, approaching her from a shopping mall, then you are straight away one step ahead of those 19 other guys on that dating app. Why? Well, you've already made it from the app to her actual phone, okay? You've entered into her digital personal space, so to speak, and so she'll feel much more comfortable and she'll feel much more connected with you relative to, say, her virtual list of suitors from that dating app. So you will therefore automatically, you will have a huge advantage, and you won't need to put in as much effort and as much energy in being, say, unique in your messages, in trying to be funny, which will save you a tremendous amount of time and a lot of frustration too. But also, by default, in being within her digital personal space, she will automatically prioritize you over the other suitors because you are much closer and you're much dearer to her, which is ideal. Now guys, it takes a matter of seconds to approach a girl that you don't know. Literally a few seconds max. And it takes minutes to get her number. So basically, you can be right ahead of the game in a matter of minutes. And isn't that amazing? So you can begin to see how dating apps can be so much more inefficient compared to, say, the traditional way of cold approaching a stranger. So basically, you can be ahead of the game in a matter of minutes. Isn't that amazing? So you can begin to see how dating apps can be so much more inefficient compared to, say, the traditional way of cold approaching a stranger. And if there are any women watching this, the same applies to you too. Please do go forth and please do approach those guys that you really fancy, just to make things easier and to make things much simpler, more normal, and just much more efficient. And so going back to those messaging dynamics on the app, I haven't even begun to mention some of those senseless things that take place, like, when a guy gets suddenly unmatched for sending a message, or after sending, one of those bog standard opening messages, for instance. It is just such an extreme response, and it just doesn't make any sense. And it's like a guy getting blocked straight after getting a girl's number from, say, a cold approach, which, believe me, that will never ever happen. This is why I'm really against online dating for any guy who's starting off in this stuff, because you will get demoralized from the get-go, and that is just not what you want, or not what you need at this point in your life. I suppose the biggest limitation when it comes to online dating is purely down to the fact that you can't get a feeling of what the girl's like when you match with her. You have no idea. And what I'm talking about is what the girl is like as a whole, not simply how she looks. Because you see, the big question here is, can you interact and can you engage with her when you meet her in person? And will you two even get along? Now, there's just no way to tell from the outset of the app, because you could find a girl who looks amazing in a photo. She could literally look like a supermodel, but she could turn out to be a total social recluse when you meet her, who is absolutely uninterested in anything but herself. And you don't want that when you're going on dates and when you're meeting new women. Okay, and likewise, you might come across a girl who, doesn't look so stunning in her images, and she might not be the best looker, or she might simply have not have worked so hard on, say, her Photoshop skills, let's say. But, if you were to meet her in real life, you'd find out that she's actually a really cool girl, and she's actually really attractive in her own way, and she has lots of energy, and she's got lots of sex appeal too. Now, do you see what I mean here? And there is simply no way in which you can screen for these things beforehand. There is no way. So you're simply wasting your time and you're wasting your energy without knowing this stuff. Okay, on the other hand, when you meet a girl through cold approach, you can straight away see what that girl looks like and what she's like in real life. But not only that, you can see how she acts, you can see how she presents herself, and you can get a feeling and a gist of the girl's energy and the girl's sex appeal, which you simply cannot screen for through, say, an online app. So the whole process of physically walking up to her and approaching her is so much more efficient than any sort of dating app. And you've automatically saved yourself days and potentially even weeks of time by actually seeing the girl and bearing witness to her before your first date together. So you can see how the app is actually an inferior form of intimate communication. It's a form of communication which can no way compete with both the complexity and the simplicity of real life interactions, because it simply cannot carry as much information as in real life, and its complexity is devoid of any sort of emotion right from the get-go. So in essence, what I'm leading on to here is the fact that online dating breeds superficiality. It is a superficial form of matchmaking, and they say that a picture can paint 1,000 words, but words are simply not enough when it comes to dating and when it comes to attraction. Now, as I've already mentioned, you can have girls out there who are attractive because of their confidence and because of their energy, okay? And this is completely missed out when using those dating apps. Now, these women are simply missed out, and there are certain qualities about a woman that just can't be captured by, looking at a picture. And so from a male perspective, these are also completely missed. Okay, and likewise for men too, there are qualities that are simply not captured there and then, such as his confidence or, his bravery or even his charm. And so in reality, it makes it so much more difficult to find your ideal match. It makes it so much more time consuming and so much more frustrating. Now, it's quite ironic because when you read articles about online dating in the press, most of them are actually negative articles that criticize it, believe it or not. Now, for instance, they always touch on how aggravating it is when people go silent in certain points in the interaction. And it's not only ghosting that they whinge about, there are a whole host of negative aspects to using these apps. Now, they complain how the guys that they meet there are, a bit strange, and it's always difficult to find someone who's normal or who has, good intentions about him. Well, if you can't see the person from the outset, or if you can't, read their body language, then there's no way that you can screen for these things online. In fact, it kind of makes women devoid of all of their evolutionary awareness to these things, such as, looking for that good body language and spotting that voice tonality and the eye contact, which they've been using for thousands upon thousands of years up to this point. And so this is part of the problem, and I haven't even begun to mention things like online fraud or even catfishing, whereby someone could, quite easily create a fake persona online. They could quite easily just, pretend to be someone that they're not in order to take advantage of that situation and to take advantage of your emotional vulnerability. So why put yourself at risk of these scammers? It takes quite a long time to get to know someone anyway, and when you begin to date them, so why even make it more difficult for yourself, and why make it a risky thing? So what I'd say is, just refrain from using them outright and actually put in the effort to meet people in real life. Look, there is unfortunately no quick way to meet people. That is just fallacy, and don't buy into that. Okay, and this nicely leads me on to my next point. Now, the other issue with dating apps stems from the way in which that they're designed, and is actually a byproduct of the technological revolution itself. Because you see, whenever you match with someone, you will instantly feel good about yourself, okay, even though you haven't actually really progressed anywhere with anyone. So you will begin to feel what's commonly known as that instant gratification. You will automatically feel good about yourself, and you'll feel like, you've already achieved something grand, when in reality, you haven't. I mean, yeah, you are slowly progressing with the situation and, with meeting that girl. However, the dating app is designed in such a way to really make you feel good about, that situation, and make you feel good, make you feel like the girl likes you. But come on, look, you are still a million miles away, because you still haven't got to that, digital personal space. You haven't even sent her a message, and you don't even know if she'll respond back to you. So the real issue here is the whole process becomes much like a game. It becomes like an activity that loses all of its meaning, it loses all of its soul, and it becomes very disposable. Dating becomes meaningless, which is a great tragedy, and the user takes it all for granted, which is why people are just not so responsive on these things. I mean, why should they be responsive when they can play the same game again and again and tomorrow, where they could, match with that dream guy or girl? Well, not quite. So you see, guys, that instant gratification that comes from swiping left and swiping right and getting a match, that becomes addictive, and people are getting so hooked on this. They're hooked on the game aspect of it, and they miss the true meaning of what dating is. They miss the authentic part of dating, and that is all sucked in and eaten away by that technological demon. And this is not just a local isolated issue with any one guy. It's definitely having a broader impact on society as a whole, as people are becoming much more difficult to please in that long run, and are becoming much happier. Now, I recently had a chat with a medic friend of mine who actually told me, to my surprise, that depression rates are getting higher and higher because of this instant gratification element that technology and social media have drawn us into. Anyway, I won't go too astray. However, for anyone starting off in dating, I would strongly advise using dating apps, and I would encourage you to get yourself out there and get yourself into those real life social situations. Now, if you want to save yourself a lot of time and a lot of frustration, and if you really value your time, and if you actually want to meet your ideal partner, you really need to get yourself out there, and you need to start taking action. Now, start putting in the effort to work on yourself and to work on your confidence levels, because there unfortunately will never be an easy way to go about this. No dating app will ever be able to give you what you want just like that. You will have to make that change, and you'll have to become that change that you want to see. And you'll see that when you actually develop that confidence, it's really not that hard, and it's all really worth it at the end. And it's really not that difficult to strike up conversations with girls. It just becomes a habit. And you see, after a while, it becomes so much more than just a habit. It becomes actual joy in your life. And it really brings that dating back to life. You really begin to understand the true meaning of dating, the soul of dating, and the heart of attraction itself. Anyways, guys, that's all from me today, but I really hope that you liked this video today, because I have some really strong views about this subject. Now, please do put your thoughts and put your comments in the comment section right down below. Tell me what you think about online dating, and please do share your experiences too, so that we can all talk about them. As always, there will be many, many more videos from myself and from the rest of the Karma gang, so definitely stay tuned for more. Now, today you were joined by none other than Iain Myles, and I shall see you next time.